Lawrence Lessig's PAC, Mayday PAC, is terrific. What they want to do is they want to get out corruption, right? So they've done something fairly smart, which is to say, hey, listen, if you're taking a lot of donor money and you're fighting against any kind of campaign finance reform, you're fighting every effort to get money out of politics. You like money in politics. You're an incumbent, you have taken money, and then you have done the bidding of those donors. Well, we're going to come for you because we want to be like, for lack of a better example, like the NRA. You know that if you cross the NRA as a politician, there's going to be consequences, right? So they're saying now, if you cross the American people and you are corrupt, there's going to be consequences. We're going to spend a lot of money to get you out of politics. I actually love the plan, right? Now, turns out that the politicians that they're spending the money against don't like it. And prime example is Fred Upton, who's apparently up to no good. And he does not like that Mayday PAC has come for him. When they start squealing, to me, that's good news that you're being effective. They have spent anywhere between $1.5 to $2 million against Fred Upton. Now, he's a very powerful guy in the House. He runs the Energy and Commerce Committee, and there's a lot of donors that'd be interested in that committee. So now that they've heard him a little bit and they've got his attention, he's going to go fight back. Now, how is he going to fight back? Well, in the most ironic way possible, by threatening to be more corrupt. So we go to the Huffington Post for an explanation here. According to people familiar with the situation, committee staff director and former super lobbyist Gary Andrus personally has been calling the CEOs of major Silicon Valley tech companies, hammering them for coming after Upton and spooking Mayday's donors who worry their companies will get rougher treatment when and if Upton survives. How do you like this for irony? Oh, you're accusing me of being corrupt? Well, I'm going to send my super lobbyist after you. And he's going to threaten you that if you don't play ball, when I get into office, I'm not going to care about policy. I don't care about my ideology. All I'm going to do is be vindictive and try to make sure that your efforts at rooting out corruption are met with further corruption against you. Okay, great. Well, thank you for proving our point, Fred Upton. Well, let's go to the candidate himself. Let's go to his quotes and see what he has to say. He says, I do know that some of the folks that funded the PAC, and as I've talked to them, they are or they were under the illusion that this was a group that was trying to focus on dysfunction and taking it out, getting people that can work together. And the people that I've talked to, some of them have put 6 figures into this PAC, they are really ashamed. They are distraught. They said they were taken for a ride. It's too late. They bought the stuff, and it came out of the blue. Nothing came out of the blue. Mayday PAC was incredibly clear. They said they would spend it against incumbents that are fighting against campaign finance reform. The people who want to keep money in politics, put it in their pocket, use it for their campaigns, and they do the bidding of their donors. That's Fred Upton in a nutshell. They're doing exactly what they were supposed to do. Now, I don't know if what he's relaying about the donors is true or untrue, but it seems like an old mafia move, right? You go and you have a conversation and you make an offer you can't refuse. You remember, if I win in the committee, you're going to have a lot of issues. You sure you want to donate that way? Why don't you come out here and tell us how ashamed you are? So if that wasn't specific enough, well, they got specific on issues. Andrus, the super lobbyist, also argued that Upton has been one of the few Republicans in favor of immigration reform, which the Silicon Valley crowd has spent millions pushing. He's talking about the Silicon Valley donors that gave to Mayday PAC. And one of the things they care most about is the immigration issue. They want to be able to bring engineers from all across the world who have expertise that they can use in their companies and grow their companies. And what he's saying is, how dare you give money against me? So because of that, I will kill your initiatives that you care about. Unless, of course, you change your mind and you give me even more money. And if you bribe me appropriately, then you might get the immigration reform that you want. Well, thank you for clarifying exactly what we're fighting against. So now, one last piece of this. In his calls with the CEOs, Andrus told donors that Mayday was picking the wrong target in Upton. Upton played a role in passing Shays Meehan, the House version of the McCain-Feingold campaign finance reform bill that the Supreme Court later gutted. Now, is it true that he's actually in favor of campaign finance reform? Absolutely not. I'm going to prove that to you in a second, okay? But why is he saying that? Oh, so it turns out that if we do make an issue out of this, then all of a sudden you're going to turn around and go, yeah, but I was for campaign finance reform. Yeah, of course I want to get money out of politics. Sure I do. So it turns out Larry Lessig was right, that if you actually get realistic in politics and you spend money against these politicians and all of a sudden they get scared of you, they turn around and go, yeah, of course, yeah, I was on your side. I don't know why you're even hitting me. Sure, of course. How do we get money out of politics? Oh, interesting, all of a sudden. Now I say all of a sudden because here's his real record. An advisor to the Mayday PAC countered that Upton, whatever his past support, has not signed on to any of the campaign finance reform bills, either Democratic or Republican ones now in Congress. Upton also voted against the Disclose Act, which would have rolled back some of the Citizens United, the Supreme Court decision he says he disagreed with. Well, he's got a funny way of disagreeing with the decision. He will not roll back any of it. So you have the proper context. The Disclose Act just says, hey, continue to take bribes. Just tell us who's giving you the money. It should be the easiest reform possible. In fact, even in Citizens United, Justice Kennedy said, well, obviously they'll disclose their donors. Well, it turns out it's not obvious because of corrupt politicians like Fred Upton who don't want to disclose their donors. And if any donor goes against them, will promise vengeance and payback and strike back. This is exactly the kind of politics as usual that Mayday PAC, our PAC, Wolf PAC is fighting against, okay? We're both united in fighting against these forces of corruption. So don't believe a word of what Fred Upton says, except the part where he threatens you. That part he's very serious about.